Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to dive into a brief piece of a technical analysis on Zilliqa. If you find this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. Right, with all that out of the way, let's dive into this technical analysis for Zilliqa. So we're going to start with the weekly chart, guys, like we usually do, and we will highlight what's going on here with our impulse waves and make sure that we're fully aware of the structure and everything that's going on. Ultimately, there are 5 impulse waves to the upside that we're following here. Wave 1 really kind of kick-started back in March of 2020, peaked up here in about June time. We went for a sideways trade for our low of wave 2, and this ultimately was very flat, right? You can see how it was basically just trading sideways across here before we went into the wave 3. Now, wave 4 was sharp, and wave 4 is always going to be sharp if wave 2 is flat. If wave 2 was sharp, wave 4 would have been flat. So overall, these two always mirror each other. So we know that that's one of the rules that we see when we have a 5 impulse wave to the upside. The other rule that we also want to be aware of is that wave 4 cannot go lower than wave 1, and this is also perfectly fine here for Zilliqa. So that means that we are looking to push up to the 5th wave, and we should be doing pretty good here on getting that across the line. Overall, this puts us just under around that dollar level, so we'll get into that on the hour on our daily chart in a moment, but it puts us approximately 700 or so percent away from that target. So it's not too far away, and we have had a pullback recently. We had a bit of a push back to the upside as well. Just down here was our accumulation zone, and we've enjoyed a little bit of accumulation for ZIL just at the bottom here before we had that push to the upside recently. Overall, the structure on these 5 impulse waves to the upside is doing really, really well, and the stochastic is overbought, just pulling down a little bit most recently here, and around we can be up here for quite some time now, so nothing to really worry about. We can obviously track up in these overbought areas for months. With many of those altcoins, we have seen that exactly happen. Now, obviously, we can lose momentum, but with a weekly chart, that's going to take quite some time to actually take us back down to the oversold area. But you can see that most recently during this 4th wave, we were actually oversold for a couple of months anyway. So being up here is perfectly good. We can see this being up here for a little bit longer as we finish the bull run and then go into a bit of a bear market for ZIL. Overall, this structure is really good, and I have no concerns with the weekly chart. Let's jump down into our daily, and we'll talk about what's going on here. So we can see the most recent price action. We dropped down 36%. Pretty much the entire altcoin market really dropped down 36%. There was a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, most of the altcoins actually dropped down by 36. Now, what else can you see here? Well, basically, taking it from that high point down to that 36% drop took us into oversold. Now we have this nice push back to the upside, and we're starting to see a little bit of that kind of come true so far, with a bit of a push to the upside. We've got plenty of room to grow, and we have been up here for quite some time in the past during this wave here. So once this gets going again, guys, we should be targeting our yellow box and our 786 area for a closed candle. So all that kind of momentum is here on the chart. We can see that that's looking like where we're going on our daily, okay? And again, where we are thinking of things going forward with that 720% does take us to about 92.5 cents, okay? 723% it would take us to 92.5 cents. Okay, so that's our 4.236 extension based on the current performance. Okay, so we take a look at the top of wave 3, the bottom of wave 4, and that's what is projecting our 92.5 cent area there. Okay, and so based on the performance of ZIL, this is where we see it kind of landing. Okay, it's that point in the video where we want to talk about being safe in the crypto space. We see a lot of scam activity and want to ensure our cheeky community are as safe as possible and prevent anyone from losing their crypto. There are many different scams in the space, but one of the most common and easy to avoid are those hacked wallets and exchanges being hacked themselves. This is where hardware wallets come in. When it comes to choosing a crypto wallet, there is no perfect solution. And no matter which kind of wallet you do choose, if you don't understand the basics of security, you can still become a target of bad actors. Now, like I said, we like hardware wallets because they minimize the risks that we cannot control, such as major data breaches at cryptocurrency exchanges or malware that exploits the zero-day vulnerabilities in mobile and desktop operating systems. To be clear though, hardware wallets are not perfectly safe. They will give you an added level of security and protection though. We do like to use the ledger devices. We have Ledger Nano S and X on this channel, and these are for a good bang for your buck when it comes to keeping your crypto safe and secure. There are two models, the Ledger Nano X and the Ledger Nano S. The X uses Bluetooth and can be used with your mobile, where the Ledger Nano S, it does require you to actually plug it into a laptop. Those are the two main versions, and we actually use both of them as some cryptocurrencies only work with the Ledger Nano S currently. The Ledger Nano S is smaller, however, with a limit on the amount of different coins that you can hold, whereas the Ledger Nano X can hold up to 100 different cryptocurrencies. You often find yourself having a trade-off between the kind of hardware wallet that you want to buy and obviously the ones that do everything you absolutely need them to do. Now, when it comes to cost and availability, I do find that Ledger is a little bit easier to kind of come by and is more affordable to the everyday individual and investor. When it comes to buying a hardware wallet, we do suggest you research the different types and brands, and I cannot stress this part enough. Only order directly from the manufacturer, as there are many fake hardware wallets out there. If you are interested in a hardware wallet, there is a link to Ledger's official website in the description below. You will be able to find out more details about how to keep your crypto safe there. Guys, let's continue with the video. Okay, overall, there's nothing wrong with this structure for our daily chart, but we do obviously need to get a little bit more information on the underlying data as to whether or not there's anything to be concerned with, and this is where advice.io dashboard comes into play. There's a link in the description below, guys. If you're not familiar, do sign up. It is free, and you'll be able to get some more information about the underlying data of your cryptocurrencies. In this case, in this example, we're going to be taking a look at Zilliqa, and it's an A3 rating cryptocurrency overall. So overall, the advice.io dashboard has said that Zilliqa is an A3 cryptocurrency, but we can go deeper than this. We can take a look at the power factors, which is what they call them, and you can actually take a look at things like the 𝗕𝗓 ratio. This is your liquidity. So far, this is actually an A2 rating. So for today, there's no problems with liquidity as being indicated by this AI and machine learning. Ultimately, the artificial intelligence here has indicated no problems with liquidity, which is fantastic. We can take a look at the Zilliqa Fear and Greed Index. Okay, this is actually a B3 rating. This actually puts us coming in and heading down towards the fearful side of things, which is really interesting as we started to see some moves to the upside today. Ultimately, when we're in a bull market like this, and specifically in 1, 3, or wave 5, those are incredibly bullish waves to the upside. If there's any fear being represented there, that's generally fear that you want to be buying up and dollar cost averaging better positions. At least that's my strategy behind it. Ultimately here with a B3 rating, that's indicating that there's some opportunities to buy up some fear if you wanted to. Ultimately, we can see the Sharpe ratio down here is your risk and reward ratio. This is an A2 rating, well above the 50-day average, indicating that the risk reward ratio is actually in our favor, which is good to know. We can see the moving averages an A2 rating, and the averages here are no problem whatsoever. The 10-day, 50-day, and 100-day averages are actually in our favor too. The profitability, the A1 rating, the best it can be on the platform. No problems with profitability, return on investment perspective. Everything here for Zilliqa is actually coming up roses and looking very good. So overall, an A3 cryptocurrency, I think, probably only really pulled back by the Fear and Greed Index and the fact that there is a little bit of fear in the market right now, considering what Bitcoin is up to. Overall, Zilliqa is looking pretty good. So let's actually jump down into our hourly and see what's going on there. This is where we last caught up, guys. We were talking about downward trend and the upward trend and waiting for this breakout, and that's exactly what we saw. We saw us basically surge up and then retest down on top of our downward trend. Okay, so we're looking at this downward trend, we broke through it, we tested it as a support trend rather than a resistance trend, and then we started to deviate away, which is fantastic to see. So right now we're waiting to see if a new trend forms, but ultimately we were in a pretty good position here with a nice low point just on the previous highs of these candle wicks just here. This actually takes us down to a nice low area on our stochastic where we can now start to grow back up. So ultimately we are talking about potentially moving back to the upside probably within the next 12 to 24 hours, I would have anticipated. In fact, it probably would happen much sooner than that, thinking about where these candles are currently sat. We probably have a theoretical low point that we've already come to, which would be about 11.1 cent. That would basically finish off this move to the downside, and then we'll start growing back up again. The anticipation here would be basically to get above 11.6 and push a little bit higher, as we try to get a bit more ground now. So I think we're probably going to push up to about 12 cent, maybe 12.1. That seems to be an interesting zone, a previous area of resistance just over here. Okay, so I will mark that up with a horizontal ray just now. Let me just grab that. This would be my kind of anticipation of where I think we're likely to push in the next kind of day or so. I would have thought we would go up to about 12 cent around this area here. We'll probably get rejected before turning that into a support line and continuing that growth. Nothing moves up in straight lines, so you can see this here. We move up, we come down, we move up, we come down, and so forth, right? We repeat this process. Slow and steady wins the race. And that's what we're looking to try to do, is to basically continue that growth to the upside. Okay, so overall in a pretty good position. We are anticipating a push to the upside after today's and most recent pullback that we've seen here. Overall, everything's looking pretty good across all those charts, right? We take a look at the weekly, it's looking pretty good. The daily, looking good. The hourly, looking good. The underlying data from 𝗦𝗔.io, looking good. So ultimately very bullish now on Zilliqa, looking for a good push to the upside in the short term. Long term is looking good. The medium term is looking good. I have no problems with ZIL at this point. It's looking pretty good, guys. So I'm going to leave it there. Nothing major to report other than the fact that we should start to see some interesting kind of green candles appear as we slowly work our way up to the 618, 702, 786 area of the charts. If you have found this brief update on Zilliqa useful and informative, hit the like button. I really appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not subscribe? Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.